Dope, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Yo, bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most. I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me. Niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
Bakugo is shocked by this, but Izuku doesn't seem too fazed at all. All Might had his own opinion on this, believing Izuku should have been tested alone against two pro heroes due to his abilities. Izuku and Bakugo enter together, with Bakugo going ahead without him. You know, I thought we should have worked together, but it seems you don't agree with me. Shut up, pretty boy. I don't give a damn what you think. I'm gonna do this test on my own, so just deal with it. All Might then jumps down from the skies, punching Bakugo in the face, this sent him flying into a building. Izuku begins to laugh, but then dodges the fist of All Might himself. He flips over the next attack and kicks the pro hero in the chin. Izuku then creates distance between the two, and he sends out a cursed energy blast. Man, All Might, you aren't the #1 hero for nothing. I almost didn't see you coming. Before they could continue their conversation, they heard explosions coming from the right side. Bakugo then blasted back towards All Might and was instantly defeated, as he's knocked out by the teacher, who would ask Izuku what he plans to do now. It's pretty simple actually. I'm going to defeat Japan's strongest hero. All Might rushed in at Izuku, who dodged him and stripped him of his weights that were handicapping him. No, this can't be a real fight with these weights that you have on. All Might then puts the weights back on, but as he does so, Izuku attacks him, trying to stop him from doing so. A punch landed across the pro hero's jaw, sending him flying. As he flies throughout the fake city, Izuku appears, striking him down with a black flash. He hits 4 in a row after this, but All Might seems to not be fazed too much by these attacks, even though they were slowing him down. He doesn't fight Izuku back due to his restrictions being broken and not wanting to harm the boy. Izuku finds that boring as he just exits the gate with a knocked out Bakugo. The students are then told the next day they are all going to the lodge, even the ones who may have failed their exams. The class decides to go shopping after school, and Izuku goes with them. He shows up in a hat with his shades on, and Momo questions why he's dressed like that. You guys might have not noticed it, but ever since that hero killer video went viral, a lot of people have been following me when I get out in public. Anyway, I'm heading to buy some more shades, since these ones are pretty old now. I'll go with you, Momo would say. As the two walk towards the shop, Izuku pulls her close, causing her to blush. We're being followed by a villain. Don't panic or make any sudden movements, or call the cops. There are too many citizens and you don't want to put them in danger. I'll lead them away. You just head into the store first and I'll be back. She nods and goes into the store, while Izuku keeps walking forward. He goes to the back of the mall and sits down on a bench. The man with the hoodie then sits down as well. After a couple of minutes, Izuku smirks. It's strange. You came here, yet I feel no fear towards you anymore. Tell me, Shigaraki, why are you... Shigaraki then turns with a smile, trying to grab Izuku's throat, but he's put in a headlock and dragged to a corner where they wouldn't be seen. Izuku throws him to the ground and cracks his knuckles. Don't tell me you haven't realized it yet. There's a reason why I led you back here. No one can hear you, even if you shout, scream, or cry. Now answer me. Where's your boss? Shigaraki gets up and tries to run past Izuku, but he's kicked to the ground. I already told you, but since you don't have an answer, I'll make you talk. Izuku beats up Shigaraki until he's transported away by his comrade, and then he goes back to the shop where Momo was. How did it go? Are you hurt? Nah, I'm fine. He got away though. Izuku takes off his hat and looks around the store, trying on different shades that, well, would be covers for his eyes. Soon, the store became flooded with people watching Izuku and Momo. Man, I can't find any I like. Hey, why don't you pick out some for me? Me? Are you sure? Yeah, I trust your taste. You're my vice president after all. As she picks out a pair of shades, a group of girls begin to surround Izuku. He walks past them, noticing that she had some shades in her hands, and she would hand them to him. He tries them on and looks into a small mirror. Nice. I like them. Izuku goes to the register and buys them. The two then head out of the store, and the crowd takes pictures of them. He smiles, waving, enjoying the fame even though it is quite tiresome. The next day, the students would take a bus towards the lodge, but they stop and get out along with their teacher. This is when the Pussycat Heroes arrive to explain to the group where they're staying. Izuku doesn't even let them finish as he jumps off the fences, falling into the forest below. Todoroki and Bakugo do the same, trying to keep up with him. However, when both of them jump down, Izuku was nowhere to be seen, plus there was a strange monster in their way. Class 1A then has to fight their way to the summer camp where they would be staying. By the time they make it, they see that Izuku was lying down on the rooftop sleeping, with a small child sitting next to him. The child then wakes him up, telling him that his friends did arrive. So, you guys finally made it. It took you long enough. Mineta would ask their teacher how long that he's been there. He's been here for a long time actually. In fact, he beat us here. Everyone in the class looks at Izuku, who is actually making friends with Kota while they laughed and sat on the roof. The cat heroes seem to be confused by this because Kota usually hates heroes, but for some reason, it seemed he really liked Izuku. The two continued to talk until the food was ready to eat, and after they ate, the students headed towards the bathhouse so that they could relax from their long day. Mineta would try to peek at the girls, leading to Kota falling and being saved by Izuku, who catches him. The next day, the students begin their training to push past their limits. Izuku's training consists of different activities that will force him to use his cursed energy in more creative ways. Even this wasn't enough to keep him busy for a long period of time, so he would also focus on more different fighting styles that he could use in battle. During his training, Kota would interrupt him and ask him why he was working so hard to become a hero. Izuku turns his head. I just want to protect innocent people. Well, I wish it was simple enough for me to just say that. Kota, if I'm being honest with you, I'm a pretty selfish person. I want to become Japan's #1 hero for myself more than for the people. The training continues for the rest of this day, and the next day, the students had their test of courage within the forest at night. However, this activity was interrupted by the villains who began attacking the summer camp. Izuku wondered where Kota was and goes out to look for him by himself. A villain was about to crush him until his hand was stopped by Izuku's infinity. Sorry I'm late, Kota. Now, you just need to sit back and watch me beat this guy. The muscle villain would then start to laugh, but he was cut in his eyes, blinding him. Looks like some of this training actually paid off. Izuku then kicks him in the chin before performing a black flash. Izuku shows off his speed, hitting the man in almost every part of his body, knocking him into the side of the mountain. Izuku turns back to Kota to make sure that he was okay, as both of them then turn, hearing the muscle man, or muscle villain, get back up. You're that Izuku kid, aren't you? The one that can't be touched, right? Shigaraki has a special order out to kill you. But first, I'm gonna kill that kid behind you. Kota begins to cry, and Izuku starts to walk forward towards the muscle villain. He tosses his shades to Kota, and his cursed energy begins to flare up. The aura surrounds his body and then shoots up into the sky. After this, it condenses into a small thin aura that could be seen swirling his body. Kota, cover your eyes, because what I'm about to do is something no hero should do. Izuku flashes and vanishes from the sight of Kota, appearing behind the muscle villain. He was still blinded, but yet he could sense that something was very different about this kid. He seemed even stronger than before. Izuku uses all his negative emotions in this moment to then amp his abilities as he breaks each arm and leg of the villain. Izuku looked over at Kota, who was hiding behind some rocks, as he would then smile. "Let's go. I'll hide you somewhere safe and then come get you when this is all over, okay?" Kota nods and Izuku hides him in the forest far away from all the fighting. He jumps into the sky and begins floating while looking down at all the destruction below happening within the forest. We see his eyes begin to glow brighter as he smiles. "Let's finish this battle." Dabi and Twice stood in the forest, but each of them began to feel fear as they saw Izuku. His cursed energy seemed to be overflowing in this moment, but instead of its hopeful blue, it was red and black. Dabi shoots his flames, but they don't even affect him at all as he continues to walk forward towards them, not stopping at all. Twice sends out a bunch of clones, but each of them are killed with one strike from Izuku. "I think you villains forgot to plan for one thing. Me." Izuku dashes towards them and hits them both with attacks that send them flying throughout the forest in different directions. After this, he finds the Pussycat Heroes, and he tells them to let everyone know that they need to use their quirks and fight. Forget about the rules, as they don't apply in this situation. After the message is relayed, Izuku defeats the villains that the pros were fighting in one blow. "I'm moving on from here to help everyone else. Don't get in my way." The pro heroes did notice that Izuku was different. He seemed colder than usual, and they would also warn his classmates and Class B to try to stay out of his battles, as they aren't sure what happened to his personality, but he isn't the same person that they know. Izuku comes across Tokoyami, who is being consumed by his own quirk. Using his cursed energy, he was able to produce a very bright light that got his abilities to calm down. "Thank you, Izuku." Before he could speak anymore, he was then knocked out. "I can't have you standing in my way any longer." Izuku makes it to Bakugo and Todoroki, who were fighting another villain, as he takes out this villain by destroying his teeth and knocking him out. Bakugo asked him what he was doing here, and Izuku ignores him, going out to help the others as well. Todoroki then follows behind Izuku, causing Bakugo to do the same. Momo, who was still in the poison gas area, sees Izuku take down the gas villain while inhaling the poison. The gas in the area then begins to vanish, allowing them to breathe again without the mask. Izuku walks over to his vice president, putting his hand on her head, as she wondered if he was truly different in this moment. "Good work, but you're not done yet, so don't get lazy. Make sure you help the rest of the class." She nods, and Izuku looks around for another villain. He figures out where they are and chases them down in an area to where they would be retreating. Todoroki would tell Izuku that Bakugo has been captured, but by the time they make it to the area, the villains were already gone with Bakugo. The cops and ambulance soon arrive and take care of the injured and those villains who were captured. Izuku goes to get Kota, who was happy to see him, returning his shades to him. But he was also happy that Izuku was still alive, calling him his hero. When Izuku makes it back with Kota, he passes out from exertion of this sort of transformation of his quirk. When Izuku woke up, he was lying in a hospital bed. What the hell is this? He then rips out the needles that were in his body. A nurse walks in trying to stop him, but he just misses her immediately. A couple minutes later, Todoroki, Kirishima, Momo, and Ida walk into the room. "We're going out to save Bakugo ourselves. Are you in?" "Is that even a question? Let's get going." "I don't know where he is, or how much time we'll have, but let's move fast." As they walked out of the hospital, the only thing Izuku could think about was that strange power he used during the summer camp. It was different from his regular cursed energy, yet it felt familiar. However, in that form, he felt all the negative emotions that he had ever experienced, and it made him powerful. The group goes into the city, and they see on a screen that was broadcasting the news, they see their teacher. and they watch him apologize on live television. The group of 4 continue to snoop around, which leads to the Nomu factory. While this was going on, the pro heroes located the villain's base and made their move to save Bakugo. Mount Lady would also destroy the Nomu creation factory alongside other pro heroes. However, before the students could leave the area, they watch as All For One defeats each of the heroes there. All of them seem petrified to move. However, Izuku remains smiling, wanting to fight him even more than anything in this moment. All of the villains and Bakugo, after a couple of minutes, would be transported to this place. Izuku makes a plan where they could save him, and they would use All Might as the distraction for All For One to buy them some time. It was the same as in canon, with them launching off of the ice. Bakugo then sees this, blasting towards them, grabbing the hand of Kirishima. The group gets to a safer area, but they soon realize Izuku was no longer with them. As All For One was about to use another one of his quirks, his arm was then broken by something too fast for either him or All Might to see. I figured you needed a little help. All For One then goes in to attack them with his quirk, but Izuku blocks it with the new technique he's developed, an infinity barrier. From behind them, Shigaraki tries to attack them, but he's stopped by this barrier. All Might then turns to Izuku, asking if he blocked them in, and Izuku nodded. Now we can take this guy down without any distraction. All Might had no choice but to attack alongside Izuku. All For One uses a long-range quirk against All Might, but Izuku had his own plan for this. However, All For One noticed that his quirk couldn't reach All Might. Don't tell me that Brad is able to use his quirk to protect others as well. Truly interesting. From his side, he sees All Might winding up his fist as there were no time to dodge it. Detroit Smash! All Might slams down All For One into the ground, creating shockwaves in this small area. As he stood over the villain, he was then pulled back by Izuku's lapse blue. Then, he used Reversal Red to shoot a hole through the villain. All For One is able to heal those injuries and stand back up, but Izuku, no, he wasn't done. All Might and Izuku rush back in, hitting All For One with another Detroit Smash alongside a Black Flash. The two then continued their combo attacks until the villain was defeated and captured. The next day, Izuku was brought to the school where he stands in front of all the staff and teachers alongside the principal. Principal Nezu then begins the conversation. Izuku Satoru, you were brought here today to discuss your actions and how they will be dealt with. The principal tells Izuku that he will be suspended for a long period of time for breaking the rules constantly. They will have to discuss it further amongst themselves to see if he's even allowed to return to school or if he'll be expelled. Days later, Aizawa and All Might begin to go to the homes of each student to get their permission from the parents to let them move into the UA dorms. Alright, All Might. We have one last stop. Let's head in. They drive to the mountains, where the Satoru clan estate is. They are completely in shock at the buildings that the family owns. The two are escorted to the clan head's room. Her guard opens the door and Inko is shocked to see them. All Might would ask her to bring her son into this room as well, but she was confused. She thought that he was already at the school, or maybe he went to go see them himself. This caused All Might to ask her where her son was. I don't know. All Might and Aizawa were stunned as they believed he would at least be here. Well, let me explain. A couple days ago, he came home upset that he had been expelled from his dream school. All Might would interject here saying that he wasn't expelled, he was just on suspension for a while. But she said that she was told by her son that he was expelled. So he then packed up his things, and that night, he said he'd be back. I asked him where he was going, and he told me that if he couldn't become a pro hero through the school, then he'd do it his own way. All Might and Aizawa would look at each other, wondering what the boy could mean by this, and where he could be. Could he be out trying to be a pro hero right now? No, he wouldn't be careless and do it in the daytime. He would wait. At night, we would pan across the city to see Izuku in a black outfit with purple accents on it. A voice then calls out for him, asking if he was ready, and Izuku nods, heading towards the voice. The man takes Izuku to the rooftop where they overlook an area in the city filled with crime. He hands Izuku a file, and as the boy opens it and begins to read it, the man explains why they were here. We're here to hunt down a man kidnapping children. He goes by the name the Snatcher. He's kidnapped over hundreds of children, and there's no telling what he's making them do. The police have had his name on file for months, but they have failed to track him down and stop him. That's where we come in. I've taken down some of his upper guards already, and now I've locked in on his location. However, I don't exactly know the exact spot. However, I know it's in this area. Once we find this guy, we'll take him down and get rid of him. After that, I'll have my agent send an anonymous tip to the police to find where the children are after we save them. Izuku nods and the man points to a girl with red hair with bruises on her body. I've been watching her for a couple days, and she doesn't seem to have a family or a home. Izuku finishes the man's statement, meaning she would be the perfect target, right? Exactly, kid. You catch on fast. Maybe you're not just all looks. They follow the girl and watch as she gets kidnapped by two strange men. Izuku wanted to get involved in this moment, but he was stopped by the man. No, not yet. Let's keep tracking her. They jump from roof to roof, and the men who kidnapped her, well, they continue to follow them into a warehouse. As they walked in, they saw that it was empty. Izuku then finds a staircase that leads underground. As the two walk down there, they see hundreds of kids working on heavy machines to produce illegal weapons and drugs. Izuku hides behind some boxes and the man hides, well, behind some as well, as they would wait for the right moment. As soon as the Snatcher arrives with his guards, Izuku jumps out, and the unknown man does so as well, as they take down the villains. The unknown man watches as Izuku stands over the Snatcher, punching him in the face over and over again till he was bloody. I should kill you, but I won't. Izuku breaks his hand, causing him to scream, but then he knocks him out. Hey, let's go. The cops are on their way, and we don't want to be here when they arrive. Izuku nods, following the man, but then he stopped. He looks down to see the red-haired girl grabbing his leg, asking to go with him. Izuku sighs, remembering the information that was, well, on her, as she had no family. So, he takes her, and then, after their mission is fully completed, he goes home. He arrives to his clan estate and orders his maids to give the girl a bath and some new clothes. As he waits on the girl to return to his room, his mother walks in. I don't intend to stop you from whatever you are doing. Well, I couldn't stop you even if I tried. But I do want to tell you that it's dangerous. Anyway, your teachers showed up and asked about you. They did. What did they say? They want you to move into the dorms at UA. This kind of shocked Izuku, but he didn't really care. Well, I don't know how to feel about that. I'll think about it, but it seems I have more responsibilities now. Inka was about to ask what her son meant by this until a small girl was brought into the room with the maid. She sits down in front of Izuku and thanks him. There's no need to thank me. What's your name? It's Reina. Well now, would you like to stay here with us? The girl's face then lit up as she would jump on Izuku, hugging him while crying. Reina asked Izuku if he would be her new father, and he thought about it for a moment. He looked towards his mother, wondering what she would think of the situation and what she was thinking right now. Izuku nodded to Reina, as she would now be a part of the Satoru household. A week goes by until Izuku was visited by his teachers again. They would be brought into a different room this time, where Izuku was inside playing with Reina. Since his room was connected to the outside area, he told her to go play in the garden for a moment. Aizawa and All Might got right to the point, telling him that his suspension would be over by the next week. Izuku sighed. I truly don't know about returning to that school. What? The last couple of days, I've seen a failed hero society, and it makes me wonder if UA is even capable of raising its heroes. I'll think about this offer, but right now I have my own responsibilities to take care of. All Might questioned what Izuku meant until he slid open the back door, revealing the beautiful garden. This couldn't be what he was talking about. Aizawa looked closer to see there were guards outside and maids surrounding the girl with red hair. She picked up a white flower and then ran over to Izuku, who kneeled to her. Look, Papa, it's the same color as your hair. That's right, Reina. Izuku smiled, turning back to his teachers, who were in shock. I saved her from a terrible life that she could have lived. It could have been her reality if I had not acted. And what about the pro heroes? I'd seen none of them on the scene of this crime throughout the whole investigation. The police weren't even involved as they should have been. I decided to raise her here, in a good environment where she could grow at her own pace, whether that be fast or slow. Izuku takes out coins from his pockets, and he hands them to the girl. Show them your quirk, Reina. Okay. The girl holds the coins and then opens up her hands, changing the shape of the metal, creating different animals before turning the coins back to their original state. She then runs back into the garden to play, and Izuku looks at his teachers, who were dumbfounded by this point. She was able to do that with only 2 days of proper training. Are you two even sure that UA can guarantee me that kind of development? Or will it hold me back from what I could truly become?